OriginClear is a company that focuses on wastewater treatment.
And hello, everyone. And welcome to the Water's the New Gold CEO briefing. Our mission is to transform the water industry.
Decentralization offers us this opportunity.
The plan that you've built here is super impressive.
The world is experiencing a crisis in regards to water. It's a great opportunity that you are giving us investors.
The decentralization of water treatment means that we no longer need to establish giant water treatment plants.
Let them fight over the 20%. Let's work with the 80% that's untreated.
Over 21,000 unique alternative investments.
3 million jobs in the U.S. alone.
Making it easy for the regular investor.
All the old trends just accelerated.
Lucrative and fulfilling.
The vision I've got is to standardize these products.
Design, build, own, and operate.
We have 65 people in the room.
We got an important message to share to the world.
We can put a guy on the moon, but our water is horrible.
Recycling all that water, it's a huge impact for the environment.
Bringing new infrastructure in, drive growth in America.
That's a critical part of the picture.
It's a twin 125 gallon per minute RO system.
I don't think we're talking about a $10 million fund. We're talking about a series of $10 million.
Yeah, the opportunity itself is very big.
Yes. Take care of the water.
Not too many CEOs do a weekly briefing and are willing to talk to individual investors.
And welcome everyone to the party. This is the second briefing of the year. And who have I got on chat? JRW, good evening everyone. And thank you for joining. So without further ado, I'm going to get this party started. And it's going to be great. You will love this briefing. I'm so excited. Water's the New Gold, January 13th. Today, it's briefing number 142. And it's a good thing that we're now in 2022. That is something that I was razzed about last week. But, you know, hey, I'm a CEO, not a calendar expert. Okay, so without being too repetitive, you know that this is recorded in Spanish, in live, real time. And thank you, Heather, for doing wonderful work. She continues to be the voice of OriginClear in Castellano, if we're allowed to say that in America. Okay, and the safe harbor statement, as usual, we do our very best to tell you how it's going to be. That might turn out differently, but we will tell you as it happens. We'd like to say we're the most transparent public company in America. Okay, big news here. Hard start to 2022. PWT already booked literally sales more than $1 million so far. This is the second week of January. This is like, it's getting ridiculous. And they're like, I don't know what's going on here. I think part of what's happening is that, and I think this is going to happen throughout the market in 2022, there's going to be a rush to order. Why? Because prices are going up. If you're trying to build a house, you want to get that lumber as fast as you can because prices keep going up. So there's this kind of like, buy it now, buy it now, buy it now. And I think that's what's happening also in water because we're literally putting deadlines, day-to-day deadlines on these quotes. Like, oh, if you didn't do it today, tomorrow it's 10% more, right? So that's driving a lot of sales. Modular Water Systems has a great pipeline. There's at least $750,000 floating out there ready to be brought in, but that's not official yet. Here's what's cool. Prasad, our CFO, tells us that we're almost 4 times as much accounts receivable, money owed to us, as we owe. Love that. I tell you, I love it when that's that way because it allows the team in Dallas to really get the best prices for things because they have extra cash, et cetera. Now, remember, when I talk about booked orders, there's not revenue. There's a big difference. To have what we call revenue, you have to deliver milestones. And so enough said about that. And if you go to the SEC's EDGAR database and look up OriginClear, you'll see all the filings that tell it how it really is. Okay, now, Sequire. Sequire is an interesting company that came to us last year, and they basically manage, they put all of the shareholders of the company on a dashboard that we can communicate with these shareholders. And we have about, I don't know, almost 10,000 shareholders. And they interviewed me about my experience with it. They have been very, very, I think, transformative in terms of improving our discussion, our communications with the shareholders. So I'm going to go ahead and play that little video. It talks about our model, but also how we are improving our communications with the shareholder database. We love our shareholders for sure. And here we go.
What would you say is your story or your brand that you try and get across?
OriginClear started out as a water company, but today it's become more of a finance play. Think about oil and gas, how in 1981, Apache Corporation created the Master Limited Partnership, the MLP, and enabled investors like you and me to invest directly in oil and gas for the first time. Well, water has a similar problem. You cannot invest in water equipment as an investor. It's not possible. It's done by other people, but not you. By opening up water investment to everyday investors, we're making it possible for water to be like an oil well and to gush money for investors over the long term. And so OriginClear has morphed over time into being a financial play that can give business not just to its own subsidiary in Texas, which is doing very well, but to water companies everywhere, ultimately in the world, and attract investors, give them a great vehicle, just like oil and gas. They make money from water, which is very popular. And then we're able to dole out that capital to get deals done everywhere. And we believe that is a huge democratization of water. And that's our new mission.
While also promoting sustainability, right?
In the world, we're keeping up with population growth, but there is a very large core of 3 billion people that remains unserved. And that's staying the same. So how do we crack that nut? And we realized that by bringing a whole new cohort of investors in, we've created new energy. Money is energy in a way. And so by bringing in that new money that can be deployed to specific water problems, we can start solving these problems without waiting for the federal government, without waiting for who knows who, right? We just get to work.
What are some company goals or milestones that you're looking forward to hitting in the near future?
We've already achieved real expansion as a water company. Our Texas subsidiary tripled its sales this year, but then maxed out. So having accomplished that, and that's great, we went, all right, where do we go? And it's into this financial play, which, if you think about it, finance is the most scalable product in the history of the universe. So here's a way to dramatically grow by working with finance and enabling transactions to occur that wouldn't happen otherwise, because where's the money? By making the money happen, all of a sudden we're making expansion happen far beyond our own brick and mortar activities. So really our business model is, and our milestones are, to grow what we call water on demand, which is a series of funds, subsidiaries established to invest in water projects. We've already raised a substantial amount. We are opening up a $300 million offering to really raise a lot of money. And remember, this is all segregated money. This is not money that rigs can spend. This is money that's dedicated to investment in water systems. It's secured. Investors love it. It creates assets. Ultimately, the next milestone after that, we believe, is going to be getting on the NASDAQ because of all those assets that we've created.
How did you first hear about Sequire?
We first heard about Sequire when I saw an ad that said, basically you can talk to your investors and only pay in stock. I'm like, well, that's kind of good. So the hook of being able to use your company stock to communicate to shareholders and do events and so forth, we've heard a dozen things, like people helping us with shareholder awareness, and it's usually a waste of time. It's like kissing frogs. So we were like, okay, we'll give it a shot. Amazingly, it worked. We've had tremendous success. It's opened up our, as opposed to sending a shareholder letter every 90 days or whatever, we now continuously communicate with our shareholder base. Out of that shareholder base, we're getting a lot of new investment occurring, people who previously invested on the street, but now they invest in a private placement, or they invest in this new water on demand asset investment. So we now consider Sequire to be an integral part of our corporate development. Continuous communications, just the ability to be just continuously in a dialogue. So for the first time, we've created a dialogue with shareholders, and that's completely due. And it's a who knew kind of thing, like who'd have thunk, but it's brilliant, really.
How would you describe the Sequire platform as a whole?
Sequire platform is essentially a database of the company's shareholders that is refreshed at least once a month, that gives us insights and sort of data slices into our shareholder base, and also is a communication channel to the database. And beyond that, there's an aggregation of everyone's identities of all companies under Sequire that we can market to, which is interesting as well. We think that with this new vehicle, this asset-based investment, we're going to be appealing to a lot more of the outside investors. And I think that's where the 2022 goals will be with Sequire.
I know you definitely use the email feature, but are there any other features on Sequire that you would say that you would deem your favorites or that you use frequently?
So far, what's happened is Sequire has shown its value in 2021, and we kind of like, okay, it's a baseline channel. It works for us. Now we need to think in 2022 of how we're going to really make the most of it. Like you say, if we're not doing text enough, do more text, do more of the one-on-one interventions, maybe use the event platform. All these various things and also, of course, the paid advertising to the base, the aggregate base. These are all very interesting things that we want to explore, because it's already paid for itself many times over in 2021.
It sounds like you're using the institutional investors feature as well as maybe the contact info lookup to find that information, the specific emails and whatnot of your investors in order to be able to contact them.
We love the retail accredited investor. I mean, the institutional investor, they're always there, and we don't yet. We're still not yet on the radar of the institutionals. But to your point, as we start gearing up for NASDAQ, we'd better start working with institutional, because that is, if you don't have that support when you hit NASDAQ, the penny stock investor is not going to be able to carry you. And so I think that this is going to be another good goal is as we, become too legit to quit, is okay, now where's the institutionals? Who's following us already a little bit? Maybe even follow us more, all that good stuff.
Since you started with Sequire, your shareholder numbers have definitely increased.
Yes, I don't have specific numbers. I think that what's improved is loyalty and numbers. And I think, having communications. I mean, that's, how many companies communicate with you? I know that I invest and then I'll get the occasional proxy statement, but nobody really communicates with me. So I think that it's a game changer for any company to invest in Sequire, because now they can stand out from the pack and be an actual responsive, corporate player that even if, let's say, share price went down, it's okay. They're on plan. It's all good. People then have much more, they're less flighty, shall we say. And then we get a chance to then, if we've taken a wrong turn, we can fix it because we have a relationship.
Quantity is definitely important. Quality, I think, is especially important because you want them to be long-term investors. You don't want them to sell at the sign of any small hiccup in the road or the global pandemic or a recession or anything like that might
little pandemic things. Those little
things when do those ever happen? But
yeah, right. Anyway. It never happened again either.
Right. So yeah.
But,
go ahead.
Right. So, Sequire really is for us a real monetization tool. And we're going to build on it. We like the relationship. And as we sort of get more and more sophisticated with our channel marketing, we want to make the most of it.
Now that you're getting this help in terms of finding out who are your shareholders, finding new shareholders, being able to communicate with them, I'm sure that's given you guys new life, added shareholder value to your docket. But has it also allowed you to refocus your energy now that you know that this kind of department is covered with the help of Sequire, to refocus your energy on the new assets you were talking about?
We've had a transformation in our fundraising from, basically covering our developmental costs to actually getting people to invest in assets. Now that's a big shift. So we had to get strong enough financially to be able to then get people to invest in something that would be directly driving asset acquisition. That momentum was greatly assisted by our Sequire platform. We're on the verge of really dramatically increasing our share of accredited investors on this water asset investment vehicle that we've created that's quite unique. As we do that, we keep tabs on them. We know who they are, but it's also something that allows us to then use the Sequire tool to make them part of the family. So Sequire, in my opinion, is part of the growth of our plans. And as we get into really, really raising money in this capital play, I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. So we can't wait. It's gonna be a fun year ahead. And you'll be able to say you knew us when we were small.
Which won't be for long.
Right on. Well, there we go. That was, Marissa, who was speaking, she wasn't actually, it was not an actual interview. So that's why it was kind of like a little squeaky. It was meant to just capture these sound bites. Obviously, I'm doing a positive review on Sequire, but it's also true that this Sequire is really, really helpful for improving communications with the shareholder base, because at the end of the day, your shareholders are what matters. These are the people who build the company, right? So it's going to be very important. It's also going to help us improve liquidity. What does it mean by that? That means the amount of shares traded per day. That is the most important metric we're going after in 2022. I would like to get, personal goal is to get to 10 million shares traded a day. That will dramatically improve many, many metrics for us, because it creates a better currency, right? So without further ado, I'm going to cut to the next stage and welcome everyone. I'm glad to see that we have a good group here today. Thanks for joining us. If you have any questions or comments, please pop them in the chat and I will take them up. So don't hesitate. Don't be a stranger. Let's go ahead and move to the next phase. All right. Well, it's official. We have personnel news. I will show you the press release that's going out tomorrow morning in a second. But Mr. Andrea D'Agostini has joined us. Andrea, won't you turn on your video and say hi?
Hello, everyone. What a pleasure being connected. Hi.
Well, your ears are burning because we're talking about you.
Thank you.
It's we had fun before the call speaking French, because that's our code language. But so he's coming on board. Really, the way I see it, Andrea, we were talking about this before the show, was in order to really raise this huge amount of money for a capital purpose and to become a national, international player, we have to reimagine the company. It's kind of like The Mouse That Roared. There was that famous book and movie about that back in the day. And that date, that says how old I am, because that was I think Peter Sellers, right? Anyway, Ken would know that. So of course, your skills are in digital media marketing strategy, but even more important is you have a tremendous amount of networks, which we'll talk about in your bio and your announcement. And let's in fact take a quick look here at what we've got. This is the announcement that's going out tomorrow morning. You've successfully scaled up companies, and specifically we're talking about American Power and Gas over, I think, just over 7 years, turned it into a $300 million plus company, 200 employees, and you're on the board of a community of 20,000 investors. Would you like to talk a little bit about your experience leading up to OriginClear?
Sure. First of all, thank you very much for having me. My name is Andrea. I started in Italy. I'm Italian. My origins are in Italy. And I worked in communication since the very beginning, first being in front of the cameras, some of them movies and TV shows, then hosting, then I moved into production in television. As I was into production, it was apparent to me that there was a lack of good communication in the advertising world and the marketing world. So I decided to start to do that. I started to produce in television, and then I went out and I built my first marketing firm. We did a really good job at that point in time, and we acquired customers like Sephora, Pandora, Lacoste, and many others. So our creativity and our way of communicating was really strong. In 2013, I decided it was time to do something more. So first of all, I thought I would take a year off from working, and I moved into the United States. But about 6 months into my year off, I got asked if I wanted to become the vice president for American Power and Gas. At that point in time, it was a tiny company in the energy space. And the team was and is truly amazing, really amazing. And the company grew from tiny to $387 million in just a few years, just between 2014 and 2017, if I'm not mistaken. We won awards, started to travel the world, giving talks about business and marketing and how to scale your company. Done over 1,100 talks from Russia to you name it. And whilst I was doing that, I built my own holding company, and I have incredible staff that are running it, and I'm doing a great job with our properties. I have a TV show that is right now on ABC. Actually, tonight is going to air tonight on ABC and Hulu. It's called Woman of the Movement. And in my interest, as I was expanding, I became very interested in crypto, in cryptocurrencies, and the world of blockchain technology. To understand it better, I currently own 15% of CoinShare, which has a community of about 20,000 cryptopreneurs. And it's a very interesting community. And I got to say, what we want to do with OriginClear fits perfectly in this particular game. Now, for me, OriginClear, when I got in touch with rigs, I got introduced to rigs through a common friend, actually two common friends. One of them is working at American Power and Gas, and they said, Andrea, this is really amazing. This company is really amazing. It has the potential to become a unicorn, and you need to look into it. And I did, and I can tell you that there are a couple of things that makes me certain we're gonna win. Number one, when you have abilities like clearly Riggs, Ken, and all the team, myself included, you want to channel your power, your force into something that you feel really good about, that you really feel good. And there are very few things, guys, if you look around in the world, there are very few things that you can really feel good about investing your energy to expand. But what we're doing with OriginClear is not just a play that will generate massive wealth. And let me tell you, I saw wealth in companies that no one saw in the beginning. But OriginClear is very apparent to me. It's as clear as the sun. It's going to be a big play. And it's a play that also contributes to society. So if you put the two things together, you're going to make an good amount of wealth in something that contributes to society. You have the perfect mix. I checked it with my network. I checked with my friends, with my cryptopreneurs, and with my networks of investors. I asked them, what do you guys think? And I got to say, guys, what Riggs put together in terms of the strategy with Ken is to die for me. And everybody was like, yep, sign me up. And Riggs, no, we started working together about a week ago. And we already have a few players coming on board that will trigger the type of avalanche that we are looking for. And I know that thanks to you guys, and thanks to our contribution and our work, we're gonna really win. So, there is not we're gonna win without you. It's gonna be something that we're gonna do together. So that's the time where you should spread the word with your friends and the people that you know to come on board right now, because this is the perfect time to come on board. This train is going. We're going to win. I'm very excited to be part of it.
Fantastic. And here we've posted your bio on the management page. So our friends can go and take a look at some of these things. And so just to review the team that we have here. So of course, myself and Andrea, but remember that Tom Marchicello was, the hires we made in 2018 were key. There was Tom Marchicello, Dan Early, and Ken Berenger. These three gentlemen have literally changed the entirety of the company. What's Tom done? He really has focused hard on our operations divisions, and as a result, tripled sales last year. And as I was saying, $1 million in the first week of the year. And then Dan Early creating the amazing modular water systems product line, which Mark Stevens is very, strongly supporting with his production. Ken Berenger not only really he worked with me to make our existing investors right side up again, because of all the fun and exciting adventures we had in the early years. A lot of investors who believed in us were upside down, and we fixed that, and we still can. That is still something that is available for those existing investors who have not done it. So between Tom, Dan, and Ken, that became the beginning of the change. Then we had Prasad as Chief CFO joining us in 2021, and again, for example, that amazing ratio of accounts receivable, and of course making these timely filings, because one of the things that was horrible about last summer was our filings kept being late, and that is the kiss of death for a public company. So now you're joining this team, and I feel like we've got the team. We may have one or two more hires at the management level. For example, we definitely need to flesh out water on demand more, because there's going to be a lot of work to do contract management, et cetera. So that's where we want to make sure water demand gets the attention it needs, and I'm quite sure we will get that. So without further ado, I'm going to let's see. The next page is literally talking about this interview. But what I like about Andrea, what I like about the fact that your operating style is you're like there's no lag. You're like boom, instant on, click. there's no dimmer. It's like on, off.
Oh, yeah.
Somehow it got stuck on. I don't know what happened, but it's on. Like, okay, well, we're going to go with that. So that's what we are. And, of course, Ken is a fast mover. We have in the same press release, we recognized him with a promotion to EVP. And as a co-creator, Ken and I had many a late night strategizing it. And I can't believe how long it took. But somehow it all clicked and we had it right. And I can only say that part, you can't just brilliantly imagine a bright idea, right? It has to be something, in my opinion, you have to kind of experiment your way to it. At least it's my style. So Linda Roten, who's part of the Roten couple that is so key. Thanks to Tom, Dan, Ken, and you staying the course, this revolutionary concept will explode exponentially. And Khadija says, congratulations to you, Andrea. So
thank you.
We're so happy to have you on board.
Yeah, thank you.
So I'm going to continue. Please go ahead. No, speak.
If I may say something, I came to meet the team just recently. I'm almost done meeting everyone. And if there is one thing that I know is that there is a unique type of synergy that happens within a team when it's composed by people that are striving for excellence, like not good, but great. Like they're trying to go from good to great all the time. And I found an incredible life passion in Ken, and then a power that is like to reckon with, right? So it's awesome to work with him. We have the same viewpoint, and same thing with you, Riggs, and Devin, and Kevin, and everybody else that is involved. So there is a book that is called From Good to Great, and the book talks about the growth of certain company growth exponentially, and he finds out that basically this company, the difference between a company that remains good but does never go great is the team. And this team, with the idea that you and Ken have generated and envisioned, guys, it's really something that is going to make history. I can see it already. So I just wanted to tell that to the investors, because they probably know that. And I can tell you that I see it from outside. It just came in, but I know that that's exactly what's going to happen. So congratulations to you guys.
Right on. Well, one of the players that is really going to be able to do marvelous things is Tom Marchicello, because he will now have the resources to build this whole water on demand thing on top of our existing production capability. Tom is, what's great about Tom is I do not need to supervise him. It's going to happen. Thank God. And it's a beautiful thing. So there's a real need for people. I need people who have to catch up to him. Like, yeah, baby, I like that. So, and I know that you're one of them because you've already shown me that. So, keep overwhelming me. I love it. So I was talking about how we're raising $300 million, of which, there's a substantial portion, which will be the assets, et cetera. We can get into the details with Ken, but basically when you invest and it's no longer the $1 million plus, we changed that. And there's all kinds of features that you, all these features, Ken will cover with you. Because I'm not going to get into it now. The reason why there's a hidden feature here is because we want to reward early investors who essentially are founders of Water on Demand. And we're treating you as if you were investing at the $5 million level, even if you invest, $50,000 or $30,000. So please talk to Ken. I saw his schedule today. It looked like boom time, roaring 20s in New York City, and he's got a very full schedule, but he just go ahead to oc.gold/Ken and schedule a call, and we'd love to have you talk to him. He's got some great information. All right, so the next briefing is the 20th, and we expect to cover a lot more information. We're going to get into a phase where we're really the rubber meets the road. I think that what we'll be talking about next week, I want to get Dan Early on the show because he has unlocked a very important audience for us, which is called the consulting engineer. That is the engineer that represents the client. Now, the consulting engineer wants to get paid. He doesn't get paid if there's no project. And if there's no project, there's no capital. So if we provide the capital and then the consulting engineer can bundle his fee into that, then everybody's happy. There are thousands of consulting engineers in America. And Dan has identified these people as being the real decision makers for the water on demand and what we call design, build, own, operate, DBOO. He's going to talk about some of the projects that we're already busy quoting. And I think it's really important that you come and get a briefing next week. Well, we're coming to the end of this show. Andrea, thank you again for being on board. It's such a pleasure. I hope you join us soon. I think you won't have a choice. You're going to have to. You're just going to have to show up. Sorry.
Pleasure. Be happy to.
It is what it is. But so yeah, I think next week I'm going to drag Dan onto the show. He is a marvelous, well-spoken man who he was doing decentralized water before it was even a term 20 years ago, 15, 20 years ago. I was shouting about it in 2016. And even then people thought, well, what was that? Imagine him doing it back in, the 90s. Crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, he's a dude. And, Ivan has popped up. Philanthropy Investors is very happy with Andrea's addition. We have been friends for almost 10 years, Ivan Unz and Andrea. You're still muted.
I muted it to avoid us. Yes. Guys, Ivan. Ivan. Okay, these men, Ivan is an alternative energy source. I come from the energy industry. I tried to patent him, but they didn't allow me to. But he's an alternative energy source. The ability of these men to build the networks and create opportunities is unparalleled. I was so happy to know that he's connected to this operation. But of course, Riggs, you have the best. So obviously, we have Ivan with us.
It's an amazing story because back in May of 2020, we were building this back then, and Ivan was looking for a water company to work with. And he calls up his CEO, Artie, and goes, I found a company that's doing exactly what we do. And it's this guy, Riggs Eckelberry. And Artie goes, I know Riggs. I know Riggs. So fortunately, Artie and I go way back. And so it kind of clicked. So it's been an amazing ride, and we'll have a chance. So thank you, Ivan, for popping in and saying that. And by the way, Ivan has orders you've got to come skiing with me, Ivan. That's it.
Oh.
No more BS. You're skiing with me.
Oh, me too.
Yes, he says. And then JRW says, congrats, Andrea. Welcome, Riggs. Great work finding another key part of the team. Hopefully I'll be able to invest. That's great. Tony says, is the investing being done now considered crowdfunding? Very good question. Because we've hired, as you know, the Manhattan Street Capital portal. ManhattanStreetCapital.com is a crowdfunding portal, but we're doing it with accredited investors. Why are we not doing it with unaccredited investors? Well, unfortunately, it's because the minute you do anything crypto, then all of a sudden the SEC thinks that you're some kind of lizard or something like that, something strange. So rather than get all tied up with the SEC, it's not that they'd say no, they would just delay it. And we're moving way too fast. What we figured out was that we can use Regulation D for accredited investors to move fast. The best option for unaccredited investors, frankly, is to buy our stock. I'm not going to say it's going to go up or down because it's not my job, but I certainly believe in it. I think that everyone who doesn't buy OriginClear stock is like, you know, I'm going to just not, I'm going to wonder where you came from. Just joking. We're going to have lots of fun. And in future weeks, we're also going to be covering the whole digital currency thing, because there's a story, in fact, that just came out. I just saw this story that Devin passed on, that he posted this. Let's see what he did. There we go. Well, he basically, I'll put this properly in the next briefing, but that the advice to countries is make the move to Bitcoin now while you can. And that's pretty amazing. So these countries that used to, mark to the dollar, now they're marking to Bitcoin. So it's a real change. And we're going to cover that in further, because basically cryptocurrencies are becoming the way that assets are being managed. Okay. Tony says, I thought since you are being traded as a public company, you can't also crowdfund. Well, crowdfunding is a generic term. It applies to, Kickstarter. It applies to unaccredited, all kinds of things. So it's a big umbrella that we are doing the version that is for public companies. With that, I hope I've answered everybody's questions properly. And again, Andrea, thank you very much. And I hope to see you soon in Clearwater from, I know you're dialing in from Beverly Hills. Yeah. And Khadija is putting a bag of dollars and a triumphant trophy. Excellent. All right. Well, without further ado, thank you all. It's been a wonderful pleasure. Everyone have a good night.
Thank you, guys.
Good night, everybody.